Welcome back to Fairy Tale Fridays. We have Chapter 3 of Once Upon a Dream. Chapter 3. Annette and Juliet Delgrada, the twin daughters of one very formidable Madame Morgana, had never thought much of Cecily Van Holstein. In fact, they were most mortified and distraught when their mother, the aforementioned Madame Morgana, was noted in the company of a certain Caspian Van Holstein III, quite frequently. It was not a lack of riches that they had the girls in such a state. It was a matter of blood. You see, for all of Caspian's riches, swashbuckling good looks, kindness, and general gaiety, he had not a single drop of aristocratic blood. Now, not so much as a cousin thrice removed on his mother's side. This also meant that his daughter, the one and only Miss Cecily Van Holstein, was also found wanting in that regard. Now, had they the foresight to make their misgivings known to a certain Miss Van Holstein, they may have acquired a valuable ally. That decision might have changed the story considerably. Instead, two increasingly hostile camps were formed. The Delgrada girls were identical twins, inheriting from their mother her dark auburn hair and steel gray eyes. Although they were widely considered quite pretty girls, they could have been considered beautiful girls had they not allowed bitterness and the occasional act of malice to twist their features in the most unbecoming way. And it was bitterness and irritation, if not malice, the twins felt deeply as they glared at Sasha and Cece that afternoon. "The ugly stepsisters are watching us," Cece nudged Sasha. "You know, I think I hate them." "Seriously, Cece, you don't hate anyone. It isn't very nice, and really, I feel a little bad for them." "Nope, I hate them," Cece assured her as she clutched a ridiculously large hot pink and silver bag close to her body. "They never smile, they are ugly, and they have no sense of fashion." Which, of course, was a very serious offense according to the illustrious Miss CCV. Sasha considered. "They never smile at you. They're not ugly, and they're boring dressers. You do have me there." The Delgrada girls lived in grays, browns, dark muted blues, sweaters, and pleated skirts, and loafers. Expensive clothes, always, but inspired or creative, not so much. This would be the sort of behavior that inflamed the hyper-aware Miss Cece. Sasha felt the need to remind, "And they aren't your stepsisters yet. But I heard a little rumor last night that," and this, Cece swung that oversized bag at her friend, "I don't even know whose side you're on anymore." Then the implications of stepsisters struck her. "No, this cannot happen. I will call for sabotage. Never surrender." Clutching her chest and stumbling around, Cece gasped for air. Fighting the urge to laugh, Sasha realized how adorable her little friend looked in the hot pink tunic and leggings, clutching her chest and rolling her eyes like a 200-year-old crone whose number had just been called. Bingo was very big with the crones in touring. Losing her battle with comedy, Sasha playfully pointed at her friend. "Baba Yaga at Bingo last Thursday." "Spot on! You should abandon design and join in the dramatic arts. You have a gift." "You are a terrible person," Cece sniffed. "Maybe," conceded Sasha, "but think how much better you will look standing next to them in family portraits. You have been guarding that ugly old bag all day. What are you hiding?" These were the words that Cece had been waiting for all day. She dragged Sasha to a secluded corner at the side of the school. Slowly, Cece unraveled an extraordinarily long rope. Her electric green eyes shimmered with excitement and mischief. She nodded with glee. All of this was quite lost on the former princess. Sasha could only see a rope. "You want we should hang someone?" she asked. "No, it's for radiance, you dope!" Miss V exploded in exasperation. "I worked on it all weekend, and I think it should be just about long enough, but if not, we can improvise. Oh, and this bag is neither old nor ugly. It's completely fashion-forward." "Whatever you say," Sasha had long since learned not to argue fashion with Miss V. "You're up to some nefarious deed again, aren't you? You know, the type that ends up with us getting caught, scolded, and grounded." Cece nodded in happy agreement. "I'm going to break her out." "You're going to do what?" Sasha was convinced that she had not heard correctly. "Break her out," Cece repeated gleefully. "Break her out? Go where? You can't break her out. She has Hoagland's disease. What if she gets sick? What if the mother finds out? This is a terrible idea." The mother still made Sasha skittish, and she shivered and scurried up the staircase every time they brought the lesson. She seems fine to me. We're dropping the ladder off this afternoon. We'll come back for her this evening, Cece informed Sasha with great confidence. Trust me. I don't trust you, Sasha reminded. Yeah, no, you really do. No, I really don't, Sasha responded. They were going to get in so much trouble. But it all started last Friday, when Cece had presented the Lonely Radiance with the latest issue of the Lonstachian Eye, a very popular tabloid. Radiance had seized it immediately, enchanted with stories, pictures of people and places she had never seen, and most likely never would. Cece notated that longing in her eyes. Perhaps it was when Radiance had so innocently queried about the feel of grass beneath bare feet. Perhaps it was the last look back at the lonely girl, leaning out of the window as she watched the girls walk back to the forest. Whatever the reason, the girls had left that Friday evening with heavy hearts, so they were going to break her out. Cece just loved making plans. The trip to the lonesome forest that evening was quite quick, despite the heavy bags and cloaks Cece had outfitted them with. Perhaps this was the cause of their increasing familiarity with the path. Perhaps it was the threat of trolls and other such night dwellers. Or perhaps it was the sensible walking boots that Sasha had insisted upon. For whatever the reason, the girls made very good time indeed. Several sets of eyes watched the girls as they trotted through the dark forest that evening, but only one set assured their safety. Although neither girl was her, he was not completely unfamiliar with these particular girls. It was a rare occurrence for a human to traverse the lonesome forest, especially after dark. He decided to follow them. Not one of the creatures in the forest dared to interrupt a wolf in what appeared to be a hunt. So Sasha and Cece arrived safely at their destination. It's a masterpiece, breathed Cece, who, having inserted the last pin, had achieved her dream of styling the endless coils of Radiant's hair. Sasha turned from the window to take in the masterpiece, and her jaw dropped in amazement. Radiant's silvery blonde hair had been braided, rebraided, caught, looped, and wound. It still cascaded down to the small of her back, and it stood about 6 inches off her head, but she looked really great and really tall. Sasha's only concern was balance. Finally, they were ready to leave the tower. Cece was bursting with excitement. Radiance looked faint, perhaps from the weight of her hair. Sasha was apprehensive. Although she had heard nothing and seen less, Sasha could not shake the feeling that they had been followed. It bothered her. It bothered her greatly. All dark forest seemed to bother her, especially so at night, as anything and everything could be lurking. Perhaps this was baggage. Are you sure you want to do this? She checked with Radiance. Radiance nodded. Okay then, I'll go first. Sasha began to climb out the window and down the rope. Despite her many misgivings about this adventure, Sasha knew that her friends needed her. The rope ladder was just long enough, and Sasha waited at the bottom of the tower as Radiance slowly began to descend. Surprisingly, Cece's last-minute advice to not look down had proven to be quite sound, and Sasha found herself wondering exactly how much experience Cece had in the art of breaking out. Intuition told her that this was not, in fact, Miss V's first breakout. Sneaking out had proven much harder for Sasha. In fact, the idea had not crossed her mind before, and truly breaking out of a castle posed far more logistics problems than sneaking out of a cottage. When she had with a nod announced her retirement that evening, 6 pairs of eyes had followed her in concern. Sasha was not immune to guilt. Terrible, she felt, and if questioned, Sasha knew she would have told them everything. She was not a good liar. It was loyalty that pushed her on, as she knew that Cece was committed to this plan, a plan that was bound to fail spectacularly without Sasha's voice of reason. Halfway down the ladder, Radiance paused, and Sasha felt ill. The hair was going to topple her. She just knew it. It was a very tall tower. Cece leaned out the window. Well, this was unforeseen. Take your time, Radiance. I made it. I know you can, Sasha whispered up to her friend. That, Cece added, and it's the same distance up or down, so if you fall now, it's not so far. You can be just fine. Despite that non-advice offered, Radiance did in fact reach the bottom, and as she brought one tentative foot to the ground, Sasha felt tears spring into her very own eyes. Radiance reached down to touch the dusty path, marveling at the texture. A slight breeze caressed her face, and radiance covered her mouth to stifle a small laugh as the tears slowly made its way down her cheek. Miss V's rapid descent down the rope ladder only cemented the idea that the little blonde was far more experienced in the art of sneaking out than Sasha could ever have imagined. As both girls watched silently, Radiance experienced her first freedom in years. Finally, she enveloped her friends in a big hug. "This has been the most wonderful night of my life. Thank you. You have given me the world," she whispered softly. "Oh, it's not over." Cece straightened her cloak and patted her hair. "We're going to Vampire Night School." And so that's all I have for today. So I will see you again next week. Bye-bye.